Yes. Are we in? Are we on? Are we over? I think we're on. I think we're in, but I always have to check because I never know. You never know in this world, do you? You never ever know. Are we in? Are we on? Are we over? Mother freaking dicking top of the league.
Yes.
Yes, boy, we're in, we're on, we're over. Yes! Nobody do it how we does it. Let me just diddle down here. Get the setup perfect because as always we're running a bit late, bit last minute. Soiled in, Neil, love it. Soiled straight in. Here we go, got plenty to talk about, boys and girls, boys and Bob. Smash a like for us, you know what time it is. Get that badger. In and on and over here. He's in, he's on, he's over, he's here. Had to move back to get his greatness in. He's been sorely missed, the badger. I've been in charge of putting the Christmas tree up today, so... Well, I've not been in charge of it, it's a surprise, because I had to order a stand. Very boring story, this I appreciate, but it's Christmas time, so you're getting it. I had to order a stand because the stand does not withstand the 10-foot tree that we have. So obviously we don't have a roof that goes up 10 feet, but our lass don't think that far ahead. Crack a beer. So she didn't realise, so she bought a huge tree. So I thought if I get a slightly more lower stand, we've got a chance of getting it in. Now, I couldn't get it in, I had to castrate the bottom of it. But obviously you've got the different compartments. But basically the bottom bit wouldn't go into the next bit on wouldn't go into the stand. So I had to get a new stand to get the bottom base in. And then we can build from that, because what we had last year was not good. The tree was about as sturdy as Man United's defence. But we're in now, we've got it up, we've got it ready for when she gets home, she can decorate it. Badgers in, Badgers on, Badgers over here. Shout out to Ming59, Neil Davison dropping in, Soiled, Bertland, Goostine, Peacock's Whites. Don't know if you're still here, brother, but always drops in. Plenty to talk about. What did we reckon to yesterday? Freezing cold night. San Miguel. Freezing cold night. It was bitter in there. I've got a few reservations about yesterday. So everybody's obviously loving it, and like even on Twitter, everybody's absolutely in beast mode, like loving the game and how we dominated and stuff, and we did dominate. I'm going to discuss, basically what we're going to discuss today is who can play in the 10 role, if Aronson either needs a break, or can we be better going forward without Aronson. And that's not a criticism towards Aronson, because I really rate Aronson and I think he's been mint. It's more an observation of what other options we have in that 10 role, because at the moment it does only look like Aronson can play there, but whereas I think any of them across the front line can play there. It's just whether or not going forward. We've got a lot of wingers, haven't we? We've got Ramazani, we've got Solomon, Nonto, Dan James and Aronson. The only one that I would suggest couldn't play in that 10 role out of them would be probably Dan James. I think he can play in the 10 role, but I think it'd be a waste of Dan James. But we're gonna go over all that. I want to briefly just discuss the temperature in Ellen Road last night. It was freezing cold. I think sometimes when you're in a rush to the game, like I was, I'd only just got there, and you're like running down. I always find the first half quite hard to process in general. I find the games quite hard to process when I'm watching them live, truth be told. Never leave out Bam Bam, to be fair. Sorry, Bertland. We're in. I find the game quite hard to process. It's like, you're taking a lot in. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of conversations have been, there's a lot. It's like watching it in pub. The best way to actually analyse a game, I do think, is to watch it on the screen and just sort of like just absorb it in that way. But, Luton were really poor, weren't they? Ultimately, it was a really convincing win, wasn't it? It just didn't, although it felt convincing, there's been a thing about Ellen Road, and it was getting mentioned yesterday, that the atmosphere's gone down pan and stuff. I just think it's just an expectation thing. I don't think it's because people are saying that it's because we're not entertaining. So, because we've been on a good run of games now, and I think we've won 6 home games in a row now. We've always looked good at home, to be fair, haven't we? I think we've only lost once, haven't we, at home to Burnley. There's an expectation to go and win every single game, and I think that then leaks into the crowd. So people are then saying, "Oh, it's because Farke's plays boring," but there's just no jeopardy in the games. It's like it's sort of bound to happen. Stu Nick, for me, when Ampadu is back, Tanaka goes in a 10, Rothwell to Tanaka into the 8, Rothwell into the 10 against the low blockers. We'll definitely discuss that, big lad. I just want to quickly just go over atmosphere and stuff. I just don't think there's anything to complain about, really, within the ground, and people are looking for something to blame. So it's either Melier, Silentness, who got some pelters for the little dink where Struick cleared it off the line. He got some pelters on Twitter for that, and but nobody really within the ground said anything about that. To be fair, because I just think you're just nitpicking about absolutely everything at that point. But there's not a lot of jeopardy in the game, so there's not a lot. Although there's everything riding on it, as the games start coming, as we get deeper and deeper into the league, unless we have run away with it, which I do think there's a pretty decent chance that we will just run away with it. The atmosphere will pick up just naturally. That everybody's aware that not every single game is. It sounds like I'm suggesting that certain games aren't important, but if we'd have drawn last night, I know everybody goes into utter meltdown. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that because everybody goes into meltdown, but I just think within the crowd, within the ground, everybody's aware it's a long old season. If we draw at the weekend, that's 7 points out of 9 within 6 days. I want a win at the weekend. We'll also discuss the weekend's game, but there's no jeopardy in the games at the moment. You just feel like you can get away with a draw, even a loss. It's like they're extremely important. Basically, if we go into the Premier League, it's going to be absolutely bouncing from minute 0 to minute 90. It's just how it is. Doesn't matter who we're playing, some of the lower teams in the league, or whether you're playing Chelsea, and we're just never going to stop chanting at that point. You have to take it for what it is. We're dominating games. We're expecting to win games. So it's just, I do just think it's nature at beast. And people are, the only thing I would say about Ellen Road is people are pretty quick to moan. We went 1-0 up, and then the game sort of went did it go a little bit drab, a little bit, sometimes I think we do take us foot off the gas a little bit. It's a criticism I would accept of sort of Farke's way of playing, where we do sort of maybe not absolutely bang at it, but again, I think it's all in comparison to Bielsa, where it was just non-stop get forward, create chances, get forward. It's an easy win, 3-0. I thought Byram got pulled off, but Byram's picked up a little knock apparently, which is, we had this with Bielsa when we came up, and we had Llorente and Koch, and we never actually got to see. He never got to actually pick his starting lineup with that. You never actually got to find out who his favourite centre backs were. And this is not the same with Byram, but it'd been interesting to see if Firpo comes straight back in. So Fak has done his interview, and he said that he always, whenever Firpo's been fit, he has always played him and stuff, and he's always looked to play him. But Byram's been really good. Obviously got that Byram Di Canio has been called, so I'm sticking with it. Byram Di Canio goal, scissor kick, or buzzing for him, to be fair. It'll be a tight call. Faki says, late decision whether he's available or not. I think it's a shame for him, because I think there is an argument to suggest that he has played his way into the squad really. Also, when he played the first game, I know he played well, but he'd not had a lot of minutes in that time. Up to that point, 3 or 4 games ago. Well, it'll be 3 games ago now, but I seem to remember Byram did Firpo pick up a knock or something. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Them that watch at a match and come out with all the pundit stuff are not how I've ever watched as a fan. I'm caught up with the ups and downs. Like when we were standing behind the goals. Well, yeah, I mean, when it's going up other end, cop end, I can't see a thing. Me, or up other end, I'm trying to work out. I'm just it's like watching 1990s graphics where, you know, first FIFA comes out and you're like trying to, you know, like little tiny movements, so like Sabutio players to me. But buzzing for Peru, Parisley, that puts him on, I think, seven goals, does it? I think he's got 9. I've got a thing here, some statistics. He's got 9 goals, 7 goals, 2 assists, so 9 contributions. He's our leading squad member in terms of goals and assists. And Nonto's got 8 goals and assists combined. Brendan Aronson's got 5. Dan James has got 5, and Matteo Joseph's got 5. The saga that is who starts over Joseph and Peru will go on indefinitely, won't it? But if you want goals, Peru is your man. You know, 90 is ultimately, you know, and also you'd have to argue, to be fair to him, he's been on the bench for, you know, at the start of the season, and he's still, you know, he's outscored and out-assisted everybody. Seven goals and 9 and 2 assists. You know, ain't to be sniffed at, I don't believe. It's interesting to see that Joseph's still on there. He must have 4 assists, and because I think he's only got 1 goal, hasn't he? It's good to come off at benches, Joseph. I think the passion on the pitch creates passion in the terraces. The game's gone a bit soft, in my opinion. I just think we're just dominating. It's like, I just don't, you know, we're just dominating games and sort of killing them off without finishing them off. That's the only criticism I would have of it. I understand, but, you know, people are looking for something to moan about rather than just seeing like how brilliant we are controlling games on the whole, really. Because we've never been in a position where you've thought, you know, we've shut up shop. Apart from obviously the madness at Sunderland where we did shut up shop and then we did really well, and then obviously the craziness at the end. But other than that, we've been totally soiled throughout the season, really. Obviously the Burnley game was a one-off. The Millwall. But in terms of when he's decided to shut up shop, it has worked. So, and we won 3-0 last night. I was buzzing for Dan James. I don't know if anybody saw his celebration, but he was buzzing with that. He looked hyped up. He came over to where we sit as well, or stand, and that meant more than just, you know, discussing this with my brother, funnily enough, with the wingers and stuff, because they are going to rotate them, and Faki did say that he's going to rotate, so it is to be expected. And obviously with 3 games in 6 days, I didn't think it'd be Solomon that started over James. I thought he'd maybe drop Solomon, not drop, but rotate Solomon for Nonto on the basis that Dan James was so good. But obviously they are both coming back from injuries, so it's just that, I don't know, just occupying whoever you want out on wings. But Dan James celebrated as though it was like, I know I've not started, but I'm coming on, I'm doing the business. I don't think, although he took it really well, I'm not, I mean, he had a brilliant interview afterwards, and he said it literally doesn't matter who's in the starting lineup when, with the form we're in and like the way we're playing. And I do agree with that. I do think it's, I know he's just saying that also, he will be wanting to start every single game. But Faki did mention that he's going to rotate him a lot in presser. The reason why I want to talk about the number 10 role is because, you know, we do have now, you could literally make a case for every single winger that we have at the club to be in, you know, have a role. Soiled from everybody, Neil. Soiled well and truly, James. Solomon, too soiled. You can legitimately make a case for any of our front line to play in that 10 role. Borderline, including Peru, really, Parisley. So, the game's gone soft, but I think it's a different argument to the one I'm trying to make in terms of the game's gone soft, top to bottom, and it's not a. I mean, I think the Championship still, to be fair, does have some teeth to it. You know, it can have a bit of bite to it. But ultimately, like, Luton was shit, weren't they, yesterday? So it's like how much you can only beat what's in front of you, but you can also only play what's in front of you. And sometimes, you know, you can be at a stage where you do drop down a level, and, you know, we're not doing that. The one thing I can't remember who, Swansea. I thought they did it really well, where they actually took the sting out of the game really effectively. Bob's back, yes. Bob's allowed back in. Andy, when have I ever said that rogue refs don't exist? I've said I just don't like the idea of blaming the ref. Hans Zimmer. In summary, the atmosphere will improve as the games become more. There's more needle in the games, or like, you know, a big game against one of the top teams. You know, when there's something riding on it, be a good atmosphere. You know, the away fans are obviously always crazy. There's no psychos in the game anymore. I mean, to be fair, again, in lower leagues probably is. They're a different type of psycho out there nowadays. It's not. I don't know. I mean, we don't have any, do they? You wouldn't say, to be fair. Apart from, you know, Furpo's maybe a bit. I reckon Furpo's a bit crackers, you know. And I think Nonto's a bit crackers, but it's different types. That's what I mean. The weight of the squad looks immense, though, doesn't it? When we've got all that coming off at bench, you know, and you just see, like, Rams coming on last night. He looked so sharp and, like, you know, he's one of the ones that wants to. I mean, he came on in the 10, isn't he, which also I want to discuss. But he's really does want to turn a lot on ball, doesn't he? Like, constantly. He's very much like Rutter, where, you know, he's looking to turn every time he gets on ball, even in central areas, like where, you know, there's quite a lot of pressure on him or what have you. But he looked sharp. It looked like it looked like he'd been held back, like a seasoned horse. It looked like he'd been held back a bit, and he was ready to go. You know, ready to be off. Wobber got booed when he came on. I thought he was decent when he came on, to be fair. I know he's a big bit of a big Dumbo, and he's a bit cumbersome and that, and he like potters about a bit and what have you. But, you know, I thought he was decent when he came on, and it is meant to be able to bring him on off at bench. We do have a strong bench, you know. Joseph coming off at bench, and Bamford not even getting on. Ramazani, that big Guliovgi guy, you know. And then we've got Ampadu to come back, Gruev to come back, Furpo will be back inside this weekend. It's poetry in motion, to be perfectly honest. The ball from the Bogle to Dan James is absolutely a Dalmatian sensation as well, isn't it? I mean, it's about as educated a ball as you'll get, really. But Dan James is so mint when he's just whenever there's some space in front of him to get at, and he just sets off. He's a pleasure to behold. Dan James is fast becoming. Do you know? Dan James is the biggest switch around I've ever had in my football watching career. I believe, because forever. When he didn't come, I wanted him to sign, and I felt as though we'd go up that year if he signed. I felt we'd go up that year if he signed from Swansea, and then we went to the name that we shall not mention, Skim, and I couldn't stand his face. He did my head in, and then he actually did quite well against us. They used to bring him off at bench a bit against us, didn't they? Or they'd start against us, and they did us on break and stuff. And, you know, I remember him I think he got a couple of goals and stuff. It's all mental. And then he signed, and I thought, well, it's a good signing, but I were a bit like, meh. Like, you know, there was something that irritated me about him. And he's fast becoming, so the full switch round, he's fast becoming one of possibly my favourite player at Leeds United. Now, you need to be clear about this before anybody loses the marbles about it. My favourite player doesn't necessarily mean the best player in the squad. There's just something that I really will him on. I really think he deserves more credit than he gets for a start off. No, to be fair, well, like stuff like he's never had a chant. He still doesn't have a chant. Nobody's really fully behind Dan James, even though I think the majority of people are and they know his quality. But it gets bogged down with a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's just his championship quality and stuff." He's as soiled as it gets in a championship. I agree. But, you know, there's no reason why he can't do as a job in Premier League. Now I think if long term, obviously, but I keep saying this about everybody. Everybody's replaceable when we get up into Prem because it's a wild world up there. You don't know how good any player is. Dan James at that age where he's a proper seasoned pro, isn't he? Really, never kicks up a fuss. He had a brilliant interview afterwards after the game. Yes. He had a brilliant interview after the game. He seems like a proper decent lad, doesn't he? Like I say, never moaning about he puts 100% in. He's rapid. His final ball and his delivery and his finishing's vastly improved. I also think he gets a little bit of stick for that, unjust really. I think it's probably as I'm not the stats man. I leave that to all my Twitterites, but it's probably as good as anybody else in terms of quality of pass and chances created and stuff like. He puts himself and again with that type of pace, you put yourself in a lot of positions that nobody else is getting you in. So it's on that Darren Huckabee hype, isn't it? Now ironically, I mean to be fair to Darren Huckabee, that were a good few years we had. So I don't, Darren Huckabee. I don't know why I'm discussing Darren Huckabee, but it'd be interesting to know how good, me looking back as a youth, I don't really know how good Darren Huckabee was when I think about it. Sometimes I think about that old squad that we had in Champions League, and I think I don't know how good we were. And I know we was immensely good, but I look through squad and I just think, well, how good? They all had their best years with us. Really, it was like the squad peaked. I know Viduka went on and scored plenty of goals. Hasselbank was just slightly previous to that. Hasselbank had a brilliant career. Boye was a brilliant player, but he moved on. He never really hit the heights. Kuehl obviously got very injury prone. Kuehl probably the most talented footballer at the club in terms of talent. A&R, really decent left back, took a brilliant free kick. Gary Kelly, really decent right back. Radaby, really decent centre back. Obviously, we had Ferdinand for a year, who ended up going on having a brilliant career. But Ollie Decor were brilliant. Never really did all after. Alan Smith, I know he went to Scum, but and he scored against Roma in the Champions League, but never really. I know that you'd have to argue he'd gone and done well at there, but he was never their main man up top or all. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting when you actually go through the squad. Don Matteo, I love Don Matteo, but again, he found himself at Leeds and then stuck. That were probably his best years. Danny Mills, who now, for some unknown reason, he is the mouthpiece for Leeds United on every single platform, which I find disgusting, but that is what it is. Again, he had his best years at Leeds and he bangs on about it relentlessly. Bridges, Andy, that's a mint shout. Bridges were brilliant. I mean, Bridges again were injury prone, so that's again, he'd have probably gone on to do better in general. Dan James over Harrison any day, says Bob/Wendy. I mean, there's some talks that Harrison, and it spoke about yesterday again, that he might come back, but because obviously it's not going great at Everton. Now, I'm one of the ones that, and I get abused for this. Harrison's one of the ones that sort of gets away with it for me. I don't really understand. I know his mum's mental and she's not doing him any favours, but, he's one of the ones that I actually like. Or not like, but, I think he served the club to some extent. Well, no, he did. He served the club, so, but we don't need him back, do we? It's not that I don't want him back. We literally don't need him back with the options we've got. What would be? I don't think he's better than anybody we have at the moment. And you never know when you get up to top flight, but you do sort of know with Dan James, even Solomon. I know we've not signed Solomon. Solomon's probably got more in locker, that Tottenham won't coming in for Harrison. Ramazani looks like he can go through a few more gears. You'd have to suggest he looks like he could absolutely have this league on toast. So Boye was my favourite player, Andy, by a long way. Evening Seasiders, yes. That clearance off at line was mental as well for Pascal, wasn't it? Struick Strat, that were down my end, so that were heart in mouth moment, because that would have changed obviously the tail of the game a little bit. But having said that, you know, they showed little glimpses, heart in mouth moment, and then, you know, they were pretty poor showing, wasn't it, from them, really. You know, it's been interesting to know what's actually, you know, not a Luton fan, but to actually try and understand what on earth's gone on with them, because they you know, they turned to cack. I thought they'd be pushing with us, really. I thought it'd be us, Burnley, obviously Sheffield and Luton, but it's only looking like, I mean, I think Sunderland are going to drop right off, to be honest. I can't see them. I think do they play Sheffield next weekend? Or, well, this weekend. I can't believe it's Thursday again. I can't believe I'm live again. Oh, it's tomorrow night at 8, yeah, Sunderland. So that's a big game. I mean, not that you know, again, this is kind of what I'm on about within the ground, so it doesn't really matter what the result is of that. Everybody's saying, oh, what would the best result be like? As much as it matters, it don't matter, does it? You know, just whatever happens. We've got plenty of time to just focus on ourselves, which you've got to do till the end of the season anyway. But, you know, yeah. That was one of the best goal line clearances I've ever seen. Yeah, it was pretty decent. Overhead kick style as well, wasn't it? On that Walker hype when he gets back and clears it off at line. What else we got here about yesterday? Yeah, I just want to quickly mention, because somebody put that it were a bit harsh, Wobber getting booed. I think somebody put that. It's the first opportunity they've had to boo him, haven't they, really? Because, you know, he's barely played a minute this year. But it is harsh booing him. There's also there's no need for it, but I don't actually think Wobber looks like he cares. I think he's either a bit like dim, or he just truly doesn't give a monkeys about alt, which I think is probably the latter, you know. But then when he was going back into the tunnel, he was singing Marching On Together on little video clip, and I don't think he wasn't doing it for the camera. The camera were like, it didn't seem to know it were there, and he just went, they were getting sung in stand and he was singing along with it. So, you know, who knows? It's legendary, really. But I think they know that it's just a bit of a pantomime. I hope a lot of the players are aware that any stick that is received sort of online or whatever, it really is the minority, you know. And I do think it is. I know people get hepped up and get emotional and get raggy. I mean, there were a guy a few rows down to the left was mental going for it, saying stuff like, fuck it, just eat it, and then going, see? And then doing that thing where he goes, not there, like pointing about, like, not there, just hit it, put it in, shoot. It's like, you know, I told you. It's like, come on. Do you know, I'm not sure how true this is, Andy. This needs checking. This needs digging deeper into. Jimmy Sandwiches is in and on and over here. Think he's turned a corner, Badger. Oh, I don't even know what we're talking about then in terms of turning the corner. So, first beer's already hit. But yeah, Wobble were decent when he came on. It's good to have on bench. We've got a proper strong bench. It was mint at weekend. I keep saying weekend. I can't believe it was yesterday. Ramazani, Joseph, Bamford, Wobber. You know, that, as I say, that Gilly Vorgi, it's ace. Wobbler, yeah, I don't think he cares. I think, to be fair to Wobber, Wibbling Wobber, I think first opportunity he gets to get out of the club he will probably take, but ultimately, you know, that's fine. So what? Pascal and Rodon seem to be coming on leaps and bounds as well. I know he conceded a lot at the weekend, 3 goals or whatever it was, but I think that was just a bit of a freak incident in terms of, you know, again, people complaining about defensive work and stuff. I did think we looked particularly shaky at the start of the year. I didn't think that we were going to go down that well. Japanese showdown at weekend, Bertland, yes. Be a good game, won't it, Blackburn? Their form, I know I say it in every single video, but everybody's form is like the same, apart from ours. You know, Sunderland's on a crazy run of draws, but you know, that Blackburn won the last 2 and then lost the 3 before that. So it's just literally like if you go through the whole league, it's in and around that, in and on and over that. It's like win 2, lose 2, draw 1, or win 2, lose 3, or win 3, draw 2. It's never like, very rarely is there like a run of games or 5 games other than Sunderland that are just banging out the draws. It ain't on telly, Jimmy. No, apparently not. It's half one game and it's not on telly. I would say so, Seasiders. Yeah, I love James though, so I just think he's terrifying. And he got some stick other week when he was coming back from injury, and I don't think he was full up to fitness because people were saying that he's not fast, and it's like the bloke's absolutely rapid. He's just not. He wasn't fully fit. LUTV, we might be on LUTV to be fair. I didn't see it. Did the Stu? It was funny the other week, Jack, when you talked about that fella who was shouting stuff, and you looked at him. Yeah, he was next to me again this week, dude. Yesterday, but I don't think he. I mean, they were still mourning, like I say, after week 1, after first goal, because it's like the game does sort of dry up a little bit. There we go. That's starting 11, is it? So we've got Martin, Kelly, Hart, Radaby, Woodgate, Decourt. Maybe not starting lineup because you won't have Keane, Bridges. I forgot about Robbie Keane. That's how mental that squad was, to be fair. We bought so many players, didn't we? Wild. Really wild. We should have all seen it coming. Then Fowler got here, didn't he? Just like bringing every man and his dog in. I was buzzing when Fowler got here, to be fair, because I used to love Fowler. I thought he was a beast. I wouldn't say that, Andy, to be fair. I think he works his nuts off, does Nonto. I actually think, in fairness to Nonto, I think sometimes he overdoes it and he gets too aggressive. I actually think he's one of our more... I mean, I don't know what his running stats are or all, but just on the eye, he seems to get about loads. Yeah, I feel no. I would say he puts it in. Yeah, we 100% did Diggler. We were getting in and on and over towards a bloody Chelsea squad, weren't we? Where they're just like, how we're going to get them all into training, and all like top players really. Nonto looks tired, says Jimmy Sandwiches. Flaccid, which is a wonderful word. But Nonto is our second in goals and assists. I've been saying it for a decade. Obviously, I'm joking with the decade. I've been saying it for about 2 weeks or 10 days to make it seem as though it's more closer to a decade. Leading assists, he was 5th, I think, 3rd in league in terms of assists, and he'll be in and around that still. He's got 8 goals and assists, 8 contributions towards goals. He's the second best performer in our squad in terms of goals and assists. So I think it's a case with Nonto that we're comparing him to himself, because I think he's one of the ones that does have the ability. And I think when he gets in Premier League, I actually think the game suits him more. I think it's, you get a little bit, I don't know if you get more time on ball necessarily in Premier League, but it's a different type of game, and I think, also Tyson Fury style, when we do get up into Prem, there's always this case, I don't know if anybody's noticed, where like when you are not the leading team, teams are no longer, so what's happening here is everybody's coming to Ellen Road or when we go to their gaff, and everybody's trying to diffuse the way we play. Well, when you're in the Premier League, they're not going to diffuse the way we play, are they? They're going to be concerned about the way they play, and the right back is going to want to get on. He's not going to want to be bothering about what Nonto's doing or whatever, So, or James, or whether we've got on Ramazani, whether we've got on. They're not going to be worried about what them players are doing. They're going to be concerned about getting forward or implementing their game on us. And it puts us in quite a strong position when we do have like trickier wingers. It's just whether like Farke's got the balls to play them. And I think, to be fair to him, I think he will go with exactly what he's been doing in Championship. I think which is going to be the death of us at times, there's no doubt. But he's going to want to play possession-based football. He's not going to switch it up. and everybody goes crazy about this with plan Bs and all this stuff, but I don't see why he should switch it up. I think gone are the days where there's any stability for the manager. So if it were me, I'd be dying on the sword that I swish with. I'd die with my own sword. I won't let anybody else chop my head off. I won't be thinking, right, I'll go Chris Wilder about it then, or Sean Dyche, and go really defensive and just sort of pump ball long and hope that Nonto can win an header. It's just not going to happen, is it? So I'd rather get sacked knowing that, well, I got sacked because my version of football wasn't working, and thinking I have to acquiesce. Obviously, a few games where you switch it up a little bit. You know, you're not going to dominate possession against Man City. Although if you're ever going to play Man City, it'd probably be around about now. But yeah, you know, it's a different game up in Prem, and we should get a little bit of joy out of it, and they should be full of spunk. So you know, I've plenty to go off. Everybody be bang up for it, won't they? You know, and it's important as well when we get to Prem, talking as though we're off at Prem, because we are. It's important when we get there to get a win early doors, like get a win in first 3 or 4 games. And I know that sounds wild because, you know, that's not early doors. You want to win immediately, don't you? But if you start to go on a little bit of a run where you just think, where we're picking up points, it can be a long old season, can't it? But if you get a couple of wins under your hat after, say, 8 games, you've won 2 and drawn 3, you know, in 8 games you'd be buzzing, wouldn't you, really? You'd think we're actually looking pretty decent here. So yeah, but less Premier League talk. Are you expecting more rotation for the Blackburn game, says Andy Rowe? I do believe so. I think Dan James has to come back into the side. I think it probably might be for Solomon, in fairness. Does he put Nonto at left? Ramazani? People are suggesting that Ramazani might start, but I cannot imagine that myself. But Neil Davison says, Willie awesome and always smiling, well soiled mate. He's a soiled fella. Oh, he's not. I don't know if he's a soiled fella because he's kicked up a bit of a stink before, hasn't he? He's soiled himself, but he's been soiled since it's all sort of calmed down on it. The lads are starting to properly gel and are more of a unit with strength. Succeed. Time for a run, methinks. A rum or a run. G60 Nick. Either or, big lad. Both of them are in celebration. The melting pot, the mixing pot would be go for a run, get back, have a rum, wouldn't it? You think, well, I'll treat myself to a rum, I've had a run. The lads are starting to properly gel and more of a unit with strength to succeed. Time for a run, get me sent home, then a run, methinks. Needs to be adopted to. Jimmy sandwiches with the water flying around. Don't know whether that's reference to me. I don't know if I've been spitting about or whether he's having too much fun over this video. That's a rock hard question to answer that, Andy. That's a belter. The run, says Ming59. I still haven't worked out how to do a poll on this thing. That would be a poll scenario, that. What's everybody saying on that? I think that's a Mink question. I'm going to write that down, Andy. See if we can work that out in a future vid. What's worth of Ram and Tanaka? I think before everybody goes too over the top, not as much as everybody would like to believe. As mint as Tanaka has been, we got him very cheap. They're not just going to come in with the pelters that people are probably presuming that they drag in. I simply have to address this before I talk about anything else. There's absolutely no doubt about it. If anybody knows me, if anybody's watched any videos over the past 6 months or a year, or whatever, however long, there is absolutely, I mean, it's actually a San Miguel, but the next one is a Cruz Campo. There's absolutely no doubt. It depends which Aldi lager you've got. And I don't know whether mine was Aldi or Lidl. It was provided by my mate. It's called Saint Etienne. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that will be worse. That will give you a worse head. It's Aldi. Oh, you're done. If it's Aldi, you're done. The head will be horrendous, horrific. And to be honest, if that's the topic of conversation, you clearly know that there's a headache coming in. So you must have had the Aldi before. Brutal. Worst hangover I've ever had. I had about 10 bottles of Heineken. Proper drunk. I had one of them. Horrendous. I stay away from Saint Etienne for said reasons. It's... My mate lives and dies by it, but although he has stopped now, to be fair. Hey up, Joe Depp. I don't mention Saint Etienne anymore. I've got right into cans, you know. Never used to drink cans at all. Would never drink them. But they're always like... I don't know. Always cold when they come out of the fridge. I know a bottle is, but it doesn't seem to hold it. Remember when we used to play Saint Etienne? Yeah, I just typed Saint Etienne into Google to make sure that where mine were from me. And I saw it and I was like, yeah. Worth what someone will pay. Well, that is true. 30s, no. Yeah, to be fair, Tim. Tim Flowers is a tremendous name. Australia Matt YouTuber said, there's a right strike as well from Byron. Joe Depp says he doesn't get hangovers anymore. Drink what I want in any amount. It's magic. Joe Depp, you've said many a sensible thing on this, whatever this thing is that I do on here. But I do not believe you. I think the game's gone. I think the game's up. I think you've pushed it one step too far. Saint Etienne is the Aldi Stella. Yes, it is indeed, Andrew. But I can drink Stella. I've not got a problem with Stella. I can sup Stella. But that's Saint Etienne. And I know I'd had loads of Heineken. We'd been drinking we're in lockdown. We've been drinking I know you weren't meant to meet anybody in lockdown and drink and that, but you never said you couldn't drink, to be fair. I think everybody were boozing, but you weren't meant to be meeting, but we did. So it is what it is. But yeah, and he gave me two of them, and it's I've never, I could not lift my head up. It was so bad. Yes, Ming gifting out the memberships yet again, making it rain. I know who Tim Flowers is, Joe Depp, who an absolute legend on my first ever Champ Manager. I used to have Tim Flowers, Blackburn, legendary. Yes, Pat Dunn. I agree, Ming. Jack, I kid you not. Happened a few years ago. I just don't get hangovers. I have to say this, and I don't condone sort of like binge drinking or all. And I believe you can sup, Joe. I really do. But you can't be drinking enough. If you're not getting hangovers anymore, you're just simply not drinking enough. Because, you know, the wisdom I have, the 15 years or whatever of drinking that I have, the career I've had, the drinking career I've had, is mine get worse and worse and worse. So, although they are sort of like hard to monitor, sometimes, you know, I'll have like 5 pints and wake up with a stinking hangover, and it's just like so unnecessary. Or I could have 10 pints and be pretty slaughtered, and then wake up and like be all right and just be like in quite a good mood. And like sometimes it helps if you bust a nut though, I suppose. It's always you're always in better mood if you're busting at night. I'm a lager man. I don't like bitter, me. I don't like bitter at all. Bob, Wendy, were you hungover after? I can't remember what game it was that we watched. Drink fructose powder after you're drinking, you won't get an hangover. Is that in testament to when you get home or in the morning, Jimmy sandwiches? What's a fructose? AOP and Stevens, what's good, brother? How many do you want me to have? 8 pints, no hangover. 10 pints, no hangover. Boomers Club would say. Well, I take my hat off to you. I truly do. I take my hat off to you. Yes. To be fair, is that the angle you're going down, Joe? Because, you know, my mate likes a beer and he just don't stop. So I'm partial to a cider, Andy, but I've called you Andy there. I've abbreviated your name, so apologies if that's offended you. But I don't really like them at home. Too like acidic, but I'll tell you what is nice. Inches is proper nice. I was surprised how nice that was. Like, it's refreshing, is that as well? You get a bit of everything from it. Cause I used to like the fruit. It's like I used to like normal cider, and then I got into fruit, like just like only like dark fruit cider, and then Inches is like the best of both worlds. Aspel's nice, Joe. Yeah, it's quite dry though, isn't it? Aspel and Stella in a snake bite's the best ever, apart from Taddy Lager. If you put alt in a Taddy, just about everywhere. If you put alt in a Taddy Lager, it's next level. Conscious that I think I've just spoke about beer for 10 minutes there, but you know, we're in pub out, we're in boozer, guys. By a chemist, a food scientist told me. Works in all after supping, if you remember. I'll look it up. Fructose. I knew I was going to get some of this, you know. I knew as soon as I said fruit cider, I thought I'm going to get it here. That's why I tried to stipulate with the dark fruit, just to suggest, like, not like, you know, like a pineapple and whatever. I knew that were coming. So I instantly, because I'm just talking, I just speak, and then I think, shit, what have I just said? If you don't lash it down, the hangover is not too bad, but as I say, I can't work it out. I know that rum makes me ill. I know that if I drink too much rum, I've only ever drunk rum like properly. I've had odd rum, like I can have like 1, 2 on a night out after a few lagers. But if I'd really drink rum, I drunk rum after one at events I did a few summers ago, and no. I will badly. In my whole drinking career, I think I've thrown up about 5 times, and that was one of them. And I thought, I ain't had a proper drink since. Going steady. It's my birthday on Wednesday, so I'll be out on Wednesday, I think, for a few bevies, but busy at work, so got to be careful, haven't I? You know. Acid brake fluid. Excellent. Love it, Bertland. I keep calling you Bertland, and there's no D on there, but you're getting it. I get super tipsy after like 2 beers though, and then I think, like, you know, I should just stay on that hype. 151 rum, that has been banned, hasn't it? Went on a night out drinking 151 rum with Tim Flowers, and that were another one. Although that didn't make me ill, 151 rum. I think it's so potent that, you know, it doesn't make you ill. Done that, Joe. You know, I've never drunk wine. I'm going to meet my current bird. She was like, do you want some wine? And I just went along with it, because I just wanted to, you know, I thought there's no point being like, I'm a lager out, love. Never drunk wine in my life. So we had a meal or whatever, and we had a bottle of red wine and a bottle of white wine. And it's the weirdest drunk ever. It's the weirdest, like, it's the weirdest drunk I've ever been in my whole life. Wine drunk is legitimate, isn't it? It's a totally different thing. It's not like being drunk. It was the most wild. I felt like I was floating. And it were like a few Christmases ago, and it were all like icy and snowy. And we went for a walk to garage and that, like, and I felt like I was floating there. I felt like a ghost. And then I woke up in the morning and I had to go to work, and I was like, oh no, this is. And I vowed to myself, solemnly vowed to never drink it again, unless I'm on holiday or something, and then I'll have like a few. Or if I really don't care about what happens tomorrow, I don't mean that in a depressing way. I just mean, like, if it's Christmas Day or something and I've got Boxing Day off, I'll have a wine. I'm not, Well, just don't let her hear you, Joe. Or 151 rum. Banned. Could not believe it. A 100% different drunk. I've never experienced out like it. It's I've not thought it through, I don't think. No, I have not, no. I'm not a Christmas cake man, but to be fair, Andy, that doesn't sound like that doesn't sound like a traditional Christmas cake, does it? So I think I'll be all right with it. Bob up on the old moot cider or the old mouth cider, depending on how you pronounce it. Our lass likes a wine all the effing time. Yeah, the beer talk gets the chat going, doesn't it? To be fair, that's most engagement I think we've ever had. Have you thought about a nice Fino cherry for Xmas? I don't know what a Fino. I know what I said cherry. Then I'm aware. What's Fino? Do you know? I don't really know what sherry even is. I know. Like, I think my grandma used to drink it. Not. Is it a wine, a sherry, or? I thought you only had like a shot of it. Sherry is a fortified wine made from white grapes that are grown near the city of Jerez de la Frontera in Andalusia, Spain. I've not thought of it, Stu, and that description of it has not particularly made me want to drink it, but it was established in 1932, so I can only presume it is nice. Sell it in Tesco. Fino sherry. Left blonde, isn't left blonde? That's a bitter in it. Blonde. Although I think left's a lager, is it? I seem to remember left being a lager. Belgian, What kind of beer is a left blonde? It's an authentic blonde Abbey beer. That doesn't help me. Slight hint of bitterness to it. Floral and spicy with notes of vanilla and cloves. See what I mean? I'm not sure. I reckon if I got it on Sly, Andrew, if he sort of like passed me one, I'd drink it and then I'd decide. But in terms of purchasing that, if it's flowery, floral and spicy, it'd concern me. It'd worry me. Everyone's in a good mood when you're talking about booze, Joe. You got it started with the hangovers, so thank you very much. I haven't been invited on Joe's at 9, Andy. No, I don't think he loves me anymore. See, left's getting some love there. I might try a bit of left, but I don't know. Going in and buying that because I'd put all my money on it. You see, because I'm a one beer man. So like, if I go to supermarket to buy some beer, I'm only buying one brand of beer in that sitting, and I will have to sit through it and drink it. So it'd probably stop me drinking at home if I wasn't keen on it. Do you know what I mean? I always go for like, I'm a bit like that when I go to a restaurant. I do like to. I'm not picky, and I like to switch it up as much as physically possible. But I also want to be absolutely certain that I'm going to enjoy what I'm eating. So I always pick something that I know I'm going to like. So hence, I mean, I don't actually, funnily enough, I don't actually like Cruz Campo that much, but I seem to order it everywhere I go. They're doing it at Leeds games as well now, aren't they? Do you know as well, this is interesting for anybody that goes to the game, you're not allowed to take your booze out anymore. So like in the fan zone where we are in the yes, me. I know, I think it must say, everybody spat dummy out when I got caught voice of reason. Were it you that put that in there, Minx? That went down quite well, that. It was quite funny. But I have tried Madri, Andy. Yeah, I like Madri. But Madri gets a bit twangy on my tongue, to be honest. I can't deal with it all the time. It's a bit sweet, so I ain't had it for a while. That's Cruz Campo's the competition to Madri, isn't it? Yeah, I'll tell my shit story. So you can't actually get, if you buy a beer inside the ground, so the fan zone down there, I don't know if they won't do this anywhere else, will they? I think, is it only in Cop? I don't know if they do it in East, South. I don't know if they do it in South Stand. But you can get out the back and go like round the corner to like the fan zone where you can have a beer. But they don't let, if you buy it within the ground, they let you do it last year. You buy it in the ground, then you could take it outside, but they don't let you do that anymore. And I don't know why that is, other than perhaps the fact that you can only buy Moretti inside the ground or down my end. I walked up other end yesterday to get a Cruz Campo, to be fair, but and just to mill about because I was on my tods. I thought if I'm walking, nobody thinks I'm on my own. So I went to other end. I thought, truth be told, the actual truth is I thought it'd be a shorter queue down that end, like a ball bag, and it was obviously exactly the same. There's the same amount of people coming out of either side, but I just thought that queue is so bad, I can't deal with that. I'm like that in traffic where like I will sacrifice an hour of my time to go another way and then get stuck in the same amount of traffic to see the queue that I see and go, I don't like that queue. I'm not sitting in that queue like these lot. And then you set off and then you sit in another queue, which is exactly what I did. And I missed a minute at second half because I was pissing around in a different queue. So, but I've gone off on a tangent. Yeah, but you can't take it out. So I can only presume that's because there's different beer rights outside, as in they want to make as much money outside as they can or something. I don't know. Who cares? What don't you like about beer / bitter? It's too bitter, too beery. I just don't like it. I probably will as I get a bit older. My brother does. My brother don't mind. Actually, I've never seen my brother have a bitter, to be fair. My middle brother is partial to a bitter, but have a Guinness. I don't mind a Guinness, to be honest, but I don't like drinking it because that was one of the times that I was sick when I went to Dublin. Went on a stag do and then I threw up that night, so I was drinking Guinness all day, and then I found out that nobody else was drinking Guinness. About 20 of us went. There were about 8 people drinking Guinness, and I was one of them. And I've never had a Guinness in my life, and then I'd been on sesh, literally even in airport having Guinness, and I felt like dog. Felt so bad at the end at night. I mean, there's more of a story to why I felt like dog, but we won't go down that. But basically, my brother's a bully. Joe, my mum when I was a kid, I need to read that better, don't I? My mum, when I was a kid, used to send me to school with a raw beaten egg sweetened with marsala, Italian sherry shot. Sherry, sort of. Understood. They used to use it for toothache, didn't they? Used to put whiskey on you for toothache. Is that true, Andrew? I'm normally privy to stuff like that because all my mates work in breweries and stuff. They all normally tell me stuff like that. Like Desperado is Tiger with like a potion in it, like a green potion in it. Joe Depp says Guinness is horrible stuff. I'm hoping you get weighed in for that on here, Joe, but I say I like it. I just, in terms of bitter, it's the only one that I know it's not a bitter, it's a stout, but you know, it's I don't like bitter. In 1973, in London, a pint of bitter was 13 pence. I wonder how much now. I remember going out with a fiver and coming back with change. And slaughtered, I would imagine, Andy. But if you go out with a fiver now, you get refused at the bar, I would have thought, to be fair. It's a different world. I've fallen in that. To be fair, I've been on so many nights out in London, and like, I've had some decent nights in London, but I can't remember ever saying like, I know it is, Andy. A load of my mates are literally working. It's all brewed in Tad, isn't it? Yeah, I've had so many nights out in London, and like some of them they've all been like decent, but also a bit shit. It's like, I think when you think the world's your oyster, you can't make the most of a night out. Whereas when you think like there's not loads to do or loads going on, it's like you just make the most of where you're at, what you're doing, like who you're with, rather than like everybody in the group thinking like, oh, this is all right, but maybe we could go here, or like there's a different part of town that we can get in a 35-minute taxi to. Like, that doesn't make a night good, does it? You want to go around a few boozers, like just, slurp it up, and then you're away. £6.75 in some pubs in London. It's bad in Leeds though, to be fair. I say it all the time, it's not far off that in Leeds. It's £6.50 in some places for a pint, £6. What is insane as well is like you end up in a scenario, don't you, where like you go to the bar and it's £6 for a pint. The number, I remember seeing like £3 for a pint and panicking and thinking like, Jesus, that's expensive. And then it'd be like £4 for a pint, and then £3 becomes cheap, so then you get one for £3.20. You think, oh, that's all right. And now if anything's like got a 5 on it, I think it's all right. I think, oh, it's not bad, is it? How much were that round? Like £9 for 2 pints. You're like £4.50 a pint. That's ace. Just how it works. Guinness should only be drunk in Ireland. I did both. I did Guinness in airport, did Guinness in Ireland, and I couldn't tell the difference. But to be fair, Richard, the reason why I couldn't tell the difference is because by the time I'd got to Ireland, I'd had about 8 of them. I'd had far too many of them in the fucking airport and in pub before we set off. So I'm not the best judge of the difference in taste in Ireland. Although I went to Ireland with my current bird, as I called her a minute ago, so I'm going to stick with it. That's such a mental thing. And I had a Guinness, but again after I'd had about 10 pints, so you don't really know. But it were alright. I didn't want it, but I just thought I had to have it. Pubs in Hawaii are shit and mega expensive. 100% Ming, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just like, it just spirals out of control, and then you end up doing something, and you're like, that's where I'm living. They're the best ones. $100. But yeah, gentlemen, to business. Blackburn at weekend. I think it's only right we talk. Although to be fair, again, we've been here an hour and 5 minutes, guys. You guys are mental. Blackburn at weekend, what you're looking at? If obviously we wanted 3 points from every single game now, aren't we? We're no longer best team in leagues, we're not top at league anymore, but by the time weekend comes around, we're still getting beer talk, and I'm struggling to I struggle not to respond to this. Lad once drowned in the beer vaults at Tadcaster Brewery. He had to get out twice for a piss before he drowned. Get up. Yes, Andy. By the way, pints in the Guinness storehouse are alright, but they're better in some pubs in Dublin. I've had them everywhere. Oh yeah, the football, says Joe Depp. Is there a match coming up, says Ming. Yes indeed. So, we still haven't spoke about the title. What's the title? Who can play in the 10 role? And I said I'd talk about it. I started off saying, we'll talk about the 10 role. And then said we'll talk about that, later, thinking that I'd be here for an hour. And then we got talking about booze. And to be fair, booze and football, there is no better topic. So two topics, apart from maybe music, but also depends who you're talking to about music. So if you're talking to like someone that, you know, really doesn't like you. I mean, no, to be fair, that's any conversation, isn't it? If somebody don't like you, it doesn't matter what you're talking about, because you can't find any middle ground, can you, with a bastard? Whereas if somebody goes, oh, you like that? Oh, that's fine. Like, you know, I like this. Like, shot, we can find a happy medium here. Cheers, Ming. Cheers for handing out them, like they said, licenses, then like BBC or something. Rothwell could be an option in the 10. So let's discuss the 10, and then we'll do Blackburn, and then we'll wrap it up in every which way, you naughty boys and Bob. Rothwell's going to lose his place, isn't he, in the side when Ampadu gets back, and that is just a fact. Now, I don't actually think, and I'm team Ampadu. Oh, we're getting pelters here again. You're going to move me on again, Andy, but I would like to discuss that also. Ina, how's it going, dude? Says Nonto, Ramazani, and possibly Rothwell. Ramazani in the 10 moving forward. Joe Depp says Nonto. There's only James in that front line cannot play. Oh, well, I actually think James can play in that 10 role, but I don't see the point in him playing in the 10 role when he's the most. He's not the most effective out wide. They're all excellent, aren't they? James could play in the 10 role. I mean, we've seen him, you know, try and play up top for however long it was. Also, thank you, Ming, for handing out the memberships like Santa Claus. But my point is with James, I feel like it's I don't want to say a waste of time putting him in that 10 role, but I think he'd be about. I just think he's the most of a winger that we have. James is a winger, isn't he? Like, I want to keep him out wide. Let's keep James out wide. So let's discuss everybody else. Just to quickly speak about Rothwell. Rothwell's lost his position in the centre mid when Ampadu comes back. Now, I think that's unfortunate, truth be told. And I'm team Ampadu. I love Ampadu, and I think he's our future captain. I think he'll be here for quite a long time. I can't see him getting pulled away from the club. I think he's found himself with us, and I think he'll be long term. I think he could potentially be our captain for. I don't want to say to end of his career, because that's silly, but if Ampadu can make that step up, so when we're going to the Premier League, I believe he can be. We're looking at 10 to 20th out in first season. If we do, no, we're not. We're looking at 10 to 17th in the Premier League, and if we within that, Ampadu can definitely do the job as our captain in the centre mid there, Kai. Then, if we do get any opportunity to push on, I'm hoping Ampadu can stay with us through that. I'm hoping Ampadu can be the captain for the next 10 years, to be honest. Or not 10 years, that's a long time. 5-6 years. I don't know. What am I saying? My point is, Farke's going to bring Ampadu in. And unfortunately, it's going to be for Rothwell. Regardless of what happens in the future, it's going to be Tanaka and Ampadu. Also, because we actually own both them players, Rothwell is not owned by the club, so long term it's a far better idea to put players in the team that are you own, and you can actually sort of see and assess where we're going to go from there. It's all right, Rothwell playing well, but if he's not going to sign for the club, now if we sign Rothwell, it's a different case. It's a shame in some respects that Ampadu's not doing a role in that centre mid role, and he don't want to be a centre back. That would be, for me, that would be the best scenario really, where he had to push. We're really strong in them central areas out. Struick, to be fair, is doing really well. Rodon's doing really well. Gruev's going to be the one that misses out in long term. I think we'll probably sell Gruev, to be honest, at end of the season. Ampadu was amazing at centre-back, man. Him and Rodon were so good at back together. I just felt like they complemented each other so well. Rothwell's going to lose his place in centre-mid. I don't like the idea of putting Rothwell into the 10 role, if I'm brutally honest. On the basis that I think Solomon can play there, Ramazani can play there, Nonto can play there, Aronson can play there. Peru can play there. I'd rather Peru didn't play there, but I'd rather we just kept Peru up top to try and get some goals. Ramazani for me, just to go back to this here. Ramazani for me, that's the easiest way to get him back into the side. Whether he can be a 10 in the Prem or whatever, we're not bothered about. I think he's a winger. He's obviously a winger, but he looks to cut inside a lot. Nonto looks to cut inside a lot, but it's always from like deeper. Nonto does that from like, from the halfway line where he cuts in. Like I'm talking about cutting into the 10 role, and he does it on the ball. I'm not talking about up in wide areas. They all try and cut in from wide areas. But Ramazani looks a little bit more like Rutter. And I don't want to compare him to Rutter, but always looking to turn, always looking to pivot, very aware of his surroundings. You never give it to Ramazani. He never just pops it back. Do you know what I mean? It never goes back to the player where it came from. It's either off sideways, as in, because once it gets to his position, that's still forwards, isn't it? If he's got his back to goal and he's playing it like out wide, either way. I think Ramazani can do that job. I really like Aronson. And Aronson, if I go to my little stats thing here, Aronson's the third best assist and goals at the club, but we're still only on 5 there. And I think Ramazani with a run of games, that's not knocking Aronson. Aronson's also going to need some rotation, a bit of a break. Ramazani for me in the 10. I think he wants to take the ball on the turn. I think he's a beast in front of goal. I think he can assist. He can definitely beat a man. He looks intelligent enough to be able to hold the role. I think Nonto can play the 10 role, but I do think he's better out wide. You've got to try and like balance it out. Maybe I'm doing that on the basis that I don't know Ramazani well enough, in fairness. We've only seen a little bit of him. So maybe I've not seen enough. Maybe he'll fall back into what I think of all the other wingers, I actually think Solomon, everybody seems to bang on about Solomon always wanting to play really wide. And I don't think he does particularly. I think he goes out, I think he just stretches the game out wide. I don't think he's like a to the byline type of player. I actually think he wants to cut inside quite a lot, but they can all play there, especially at this level. Whether they can do that, when we go up. I just also think with Ramazani, people are going to be screaming to get him into the side. And he does look a whippet. He looks so sharp on ball and stuff. And like I say, he's got goals in him. And assists. He's got everything in him. That's the best way of getting him in the side and not interrupting everything else that's going on. So James is playing well, getting plenty, or he'll get plenty of goals and assists this season. Solomon's doing well. So him and Nonto are fighting that out. James, Nonto and Solomon can fight out sort of the two wings, can't they? Because Nonto really can play either side. I know he never does. He's always like in competition with Solomon at the minute. It's Ramazani and although to be fair, he played Nonto and I'm just spitballing here, guys, so I do apologise. But he played Nonto and Solomon the other day, so maybe they are all in competition with each other. My point is, you can rotate if you've got two and then Ramazani in the middle. You can rotate Solomon, James, Nonto on these wings. You can rotate that quite simply with Ramazani through the middle. I think it's harsh on Aronson because I actually think Aronson's mint, and I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 more times. He's not looking to take any limelight particularly. I don't feel like he's, and that sounds like a diss really, but I don't think he doesn't hog the ball. He's not trying to like deliver all the time or anything like, he does seem like he's doing what's best for the team. But Ramazani for me, I think could be mint in that 10 role. It could be the difference. See what we got here. Ming says no to that, Richard, but I mean, Harrison won't come back and we won't send Solomon back. But in fairness to that comment, what do we do if Harrison's coming back? Because there has to be some, what happens unless Harrison just sits on bench. It's. I don't think, to be fair to Richard there, I don't think he's. I mean, I'm not sure. He might be. I think is that just a point you're making, dude, as opposed to like, because sometimes I'll make a point that I don't think like that. You're not. I don't know. Maybe you are saying what your thoughts are there, but I think you're just making a point there. Do you think the club will send Solomon back in January if Harrison comes back? I think it's a question in it as opposed to a point. Luckily, I don't think either of them things will happen. I don't think Harrison's coming back in January. I don't think they'll let the club do that. But if they did do that, I don't think they're not sending Solomon back. No, I don't think they would send Solomon back. And I don't think Harrison's coming back. Joe Depp says Harrison wouldn't make the starting 11. I'm afraid. I actually don't think he would. Andy Ryan with the pelters again. Solomon's better than Harrison, says Joe Depp. The attributes of a 10 is a failed 9, isn't it? So you're not a target man. A 10s have been about since Godrill had, haven't they? 10s used to be when you played 2 up top. It depends how you look at everything, I always think. But ultimately, there's 4-3-3, I think, is a legitimate formation where you've got sort of 3 centre midfielders and 2 wingers and 1 centre forward. That's closer to it being. Well, what formation do you think we play? It's so difficult to work out, really. I know people like try and do it, try and bog it down to like simple stuff. I wouldn't, in fairness, say it was 4-4-2 on the basis that I do think the 10 role, I do think it's 1 up top. So the 3 behind the front man does make sense in the way we play because we sort of become a 5 when defending in midfield. So like that's why Aronson's very good at that role because he can actually play. He's not. I know Aronson is a 10, but he's like. I feel as though he's closer to midfield than say Rutter was. Rutter was closer to the number 9. I don't mean just in positional sense. I mean in terms of the way he actually plays football. So Aronson, I feel, is closer to a centre midfielder, even though he's nowhere near a centre midfielder, than he is a number 9. So you get that defensive capability with him. Like he's always in and around the game, isn't he? Whereas Rutter was like you'd find Rutter and Bamford or whoever it would be up top would swap quite a bit and stuff. It wasn't always. Yes, Mark. We're talking shit. Or I am anyway. We play 4-2-3-1. That is what we play, Stu. Yeah. So, but my point is, what formation is that in reality? Because we don't, do we? So, and I agree, dude. We do. I'm trying to break it down. So I think people can overcomplicate stuff. I think there's a lot of scenarios where ultimately teams play 4-4-2. They're just sort of like the 10 is called a 10 because he drops slightly deeper. You'd argue like the Scums of the world back in the day when Sheringham played and stuff. He was a 10, wasn't he? They were still playing 4-4-2. They weren't playing 4-4-1-1, but that's what would be put down. Or, it becomes like what do we play in defence, for instance? So it'd be 4-5-1, wouldn't it? That's what we'd be playing defensively. When we're going forward, Bogle and Firpo are ludicrously far forward. So I think the formations are extremely malleable, is my point. I'm aware that you have a starting lineup and, players are in positions. When we play Peru and Joseph in the 3-1, at the so if Joseph's the 1, Peru's in the 3, that's not part of the 3, is it? It's not like the 3 that Aronson plays. I don't really know what my point is now. I've sort of lost my point. I think it just boils down to, I mean, there's in ball possession, there's possession formation, and then out of ball possession, really. But with Aronson, that's also the reason why I think we can definitely get away with Tanaka and Rothwell, because we have like players like Aronson become part of that. Can become a 3, can't it? Really, if Nonto and say Nonto and James or Nonto and Salt, whoever's the wingers in that 3. If they've got caught out and they're up top with Peru, Aronson can come in, and then suddenly we've got a 3. He does add some sort of quite a lot of stability into the centre of pitch, really. What a great! I'm presuming SV means shit vid. Talking drink when sober, talking football when pissed. Yes, mate. Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure, Andy, with these numbers. 50,000's a lot, dude. Football's a simple game, 11 players and a ball. That's kind of my point in horrendous layman terms. Andy, with these numbers. And I'm not trying to be pedantic, but it is. You know, there's 11 players. There's only a certain amount of positions they can occupy. You know, do you remember the Christmas tree on... speaking of Christmas trees, just been putting mine up, haven't I? But the Christmas tree on Champ Man was, like, mind-blowing, wasn't it? Like, what would that be? But I think they included the keeper in the Christmas tree. It was, like, the stalk on it, or the beginning of it. You'd have, like... Because, you know, you don't play far off a Christmas tree now, really. It's 4, 2, 3, 1. That'd be a Christmas tree, wouldn't it? So 10 is a playmaker like Kenny Dalglish, and it was for Ian Rush. What's the midfield general? Yeah, so 10 is... That's why your Maradona comment was interesting about a 10, because Maradona wanted... I mean, Maradona's like you know, about as good as... I mean, obviously, I'm too young to see Maradona live or all, but... Oh, I don't know if I would have been, actually. I just had been, like, maybe... I didn't know what was going on, anyway, in that point of my life. Still don't know what's going on in my life, to be fair, but I just understand... what I'm looking at a bit more than I did when I was a babby. But Maradona, could you even call Maradona a 10 in fairness? I know he was a 10, but Maradona could have probably played left back, couldn't he? It's like Messi's a 10, isn't he? But also gets more goals than any number 9 that's ever lived. You know, Ronaldo was a number 9, to be fair. That's why I don't think there's any... The diamond's legit. So, that's what we're going to say. So... that's why we're getting away with Tanaka and Rothwell. You can go into like a... When Ampadu comes into that, the reason why that'll really work in the 2 centre midfielders, when Ampadu comes into that and it's Tanaka can clearly do both. And I think that's unfair on Rothwell. Because I think Rothwell can do both. But I just think Tanaka's the one sitting deeper for Rothwell. Farker did mention that Faki in his pre-match interview. It's insane saying pre-match interview when the game was last night. You'd think it'd be his post-match. But he did mention that they swapped over. Tanaka went onto the left and Rothwell went onto the right, because traditionally, for the past few weeks, Rothwell's been sort of driving in on it from the left, because he does carry it more than Tanaka. I know Tanaka fans won't like that, but he does carry it a lot further. No way. That's mint. I don't know what an inside centre forward is, Andy, to be fair. Never heard of one. Deepest squad in a long time, maybe. I would say, Mark, so there's been this argument going on pretty much all year, hasn't there? We have a better squad this year for losing the players. We lost his 3 best players. Well, I don't actually like saying that. I don't actually agree with that. And everybody flips the lid. But by accident, just with the sometimes with the comments, I love you all, by the way, guys, but sometimes with the comments, you just naturally, you sort of see the same thing over and over and over again, and your brain does go just sort of instantly towards that type of thing, and I try not to do that best I can, because I hope everybody sort of knows where I'm at in general. There's another thing when I'm doing these, not these vids, because these are a bit more interactive, but when I do my videos, there's nobody talking back to me, so I'll say something, and like, I'm not always sort of, I mean it, and it's 100%. I never lie, or I never make something up, or I never bullshit or try and cause some controversy. I truly don't. But like, there'll be times where I've said something that if then I get like a counterpoint on my comment, it's like, oh, that is actually what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I've just not articulated myself very well. But I don't think Gray was a right back. I was thinking about that today, because they're talking about sort of Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Virgil van Dijk, all contracts coming up to end. And somebody rung in, a Liverpool fan rung in, and you know, be that as it may, you know, when do you ever listen to a Liverpool fan? Granted, he said that the best one to lose is Trent Alexander, and the guy were like, well, and he were like, well, he's the youngest, like, but that's the only. He were like, well, yeah, he's the youngest, but they desperately need Salah, they desperately need Virgil van Dijk right now. Trent Alexander's range of passing's amazing. He's awesome on ball. He can pick players out. He can change the game, but he's a right back. There's and a right back that can't defend as well, I might add, which doesn't matter too much for Liverpool. They have a lot of the ball and doing really well. I didn't say get rid of the lot, Andy, and I will address that immediately after this. You've knocked me off there. I agreed with the Liverpool fan, believe it or not, because a right back is a right back. If you lose Virgil van Dijk, who's like the heart of the team, isn't he? Like the centre midfielder, Salah will get another 20 odd goals this season. We'll get another 20 odd goals next season. A right back's easier to replace. Granted, they've got one of the best ball players in the world at right back, but they're easier to replace. We had Gray at right back. Gray was not the best right back in the world. Bogle actually thinks coming into himself a little bit more. He got an assist yesterday. Bogle, can you put your hand on your heart and say, you can see now, I think Bogle's coming into his own. Can you see much of a difference between Bogle and Gray, other than little bits on ball where you just thought, Gray, that is sensational. Very few players on the pitch could do that. He's definitely better on the ball. He's definitely a better footballer if he ends up playing in centre midfield. But if he ends up being a right back, I actually think he'll end up being about as good as Bogle. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really tricky. My point is, did we lose our three best players? We lost one of the most insane prospects that we've had at the club in a very, very long time, and who knows what he might go on and achieve. And I truly hope he does. But then we lost Somerville and we lost Rutter. I mean, and we lost Kamara, but again, we've replaced Kamara. Somerville and Rutter have been much more sorely missed than the right back, haven't they? In my opinion. And I don't think we've sorely missed Rutter or Somerville, in fairness. I just think we just need to get up to speed a bit, and I think we are starting to come into a zone, and once we get, once we knuckle down into it, I think we'll go on a crazy run, and then we've forgot about these players. Which is testament to us, to be fair. That's why Leeds are so mint, because we have forgot about these players. I went on a mad rant there. Bogle played a blind against Luton. Bogle's come on, man, 100%. I thought he were really good at weekend as well, up to pace. Because I were slightly critical of Bogle at the start of the season. He looked like he were drunk or like had like a gambling problem or something. He were like bang off the pace, like having late nights. But I think he's just up to speed with it now, and he seems to have, it's hard to come into a club. I really think it is. But I do want to address this, Andy Rowe, because I didn't say get rid of the locks. I know exactly what you're on about, because you're on about when we go up to Prem. Because my point is the Meslier Silent S haters saying that he's not of the standard or whatever. Well, what... And this is not a go at you, Andy, by the way. What standard... Fans get stuck in between thinking certain players are shit and certain players are really good. Well, when we make the step up, fans sometimes can't work out whether... Do you think there's a single player in our team, can you honestly say if we're going for it like Aston Villa are, that wouldn't have to really, really over-excel themselves in order to be like in the Champions League? Why would they be at Leeds United? It's very, very rare. We got Rafinha. We got him while we was in the Premier League. Rutter's got a massive move to Brighton. Got a massive move. Where Rutter goes from Brighton, we'll have to wait and see. We signed Rutter in the Premier League. Who have we got from the Championship? Somerville's come up as a young lad. He's now in the Premier League. See where he goes. He's doing all right. Recently for West Ham. Again, for West Ham. Would he be playing for Chelsea? No. Would he be playing for Man U? No. But possibly, to be fair. Would he be playing for Man City? No. But obviously in their recent form, possibly, but no. Liverpool, no. Aston Villa, possibly. Aston Villa, Newcastle, possibly. You can get in maybe in and around them clubs, possibly. But I think probably not. Gray, who is the second coming, who I love and I wish the very best for, as I do maintain, can't get in the Spurs squad. They're on about loaning him out in January. Who in this side? So my point. So then Meslier gets dissed as though like we desperately need to replace Meslier. We need to replace Meslier, Silent S, as much as we need to replace probably the rest of the squad. There's Peru done, Bogle done, Rodon done. I don't think Struick does. Firpo's off, and I don't think we've seen Firpo in Prem. Tanaka, I know everybody loves him. We just don't know. We do not know. We don't know. We do not know. None of us know. It's a wait it out and see. Again, I spoke to a lad today and he said we need minimum of 5 signings next year. I think that's a bad idea. I honestly do. I think you have to know exactly where you're at. Meslier, Silent S will do for the next couple of years. Everybody bangs on about. I tried to make this point on Joe's show of the week, and I think it fell on dead ears in the comments because I got loads of shit for it. But I was actually making a joke, but nobody got the joke, so I became the dumbest person in the room, which tends to be what happens. But Meslier, if we signed Darlow to be better than Meslier, Darlow wasn't better than Meslier, so Meslier ends up being in net. And then nobody's happy with it. But then everybody forgot that we signed Darlow, thinking that Meslier were leaving. So we were all actually, or a lot of people were happy for Darlow to be the number one. Then when we found out it wasn't actually that good, it was like, when Darlow had come with a big reputation, in fairness, he played some big games, like, come from Newcastle, had he? Like, he was their third goalkeeper or whatever, their Premier League side. They were talking about Darlow thought he'd be getting some more game time than he has. Mellier's got some value. Are we going to win the league with Meslier in net? Yes, we are. We've got the Sunderland mistake. We've got people moaning about like the deflected goal against the keeper. I mean, I've watched now because I've actually made a thing of watching the keepers now. Because I've not seen a keeper that I've thought were decent that's come to Ellen Road. And I mean, the Luton keeper looked shit. I mean, he looked dire on the ball. Because everybody says about Mellier's distribution. But I think if you're on about Allison and Edison levels of distribution, Mellier's well off. But if we're on about the best distributor as a goalkeeper in the Championship, I think it's probably Meslier, and I'm hugely biased because, as I say, I don't give a shit about any of the other keepers. But if you're honest, when Mellier's clipping ball about, he's quite good on ball, isn't he? He looks to have a decent touch to me. He looks like he can spray it about a bit. And when he's on the ball, I know people get worried about it just in general because he holds on to the ball, which he's been asked to do. But the bloke can clip it about. As I say, is he Ederson on the ball? No. But who's Ederson on the ball? I mean, Scum got that Anana expecting him to be Ederson on the ball. And he is not on the ball, is he? He looks terror. The distribution thing, I don't know. I'm trying to Ming 59. But that's what I'm saying, Andy. He needs upgrading just like probably every single member of the squad need upgrading. Depending on what we're talking about. In the Championship, it's about as good as you'll get. We signed a Premier League keeper. He can't take Melior's place because he's not better than him. And not only is he not better than him, as I said, there's some value to Melior. If everybody dips in that, and I stay out of all figures and that, I can't be bothered with. Yes, Joe, I can't be bothered with all like working out whether somebody's worth. I don't care what players. I don't. Me and my brother. Well, my brother said this to me years ago, and I was like, I'm fully on board with it. Was it a successful window? Everybody were banging on at the start of this season. Did we get the marquee signing? Did we get a marquee signing? No marquee signing. What marquee signing means is there a £30 million player that we've bought? No, we didn't buy that £30 million player. Then we got Tanaka for £3.5 million or whatever ridiculousness it was. Was that your marquee signing? Can we watch first? Can we watch the players and then go marquee signing there? Why does it have to be 30 million? Why is the money important? I actually like the fact that the 49ers won't get pushed about and don't get pressured into nonsense buying. You know, because anybody can put me in boardroom. I'll spend some money, boys. Boys and Bob. I don't mind. Give me a £50 million budget. Like Farker's just been saying. Farker's been saying in January window, like he's expecting nobody to come in. Ming bought very well, 100%. We've bought extremely well. Ramazan is brilliant signing by looks of it. Solomon, brilliant loanee coming in. Tanaka, brilliant. Rothwell, brilliant. Bogle, looking really good. 49ers don't look like they're going to get ripped off. I say this all the time, at Man City don't get ripped off. I know they've spent silly money on players. Silly money. They've spent 100 million on Grealish or whatever. I don't think Grealish is worth 100 million. But he's also been really good for him. He's been decent for him. Melior's worth more than Darlow now, and he will be worth more than Darlow for the next 2 years. When we go up into Premier League, he will be our goalkeeper. He just will. And hopefully we'll finish 10th. And then he might come on leaps and bounds as well. I just don't know. I don't know why he's getting wrote off. He's a proper young lad. I interviewed Martin a couple of years ago, and he was on about where he was in his career in comparison to Meslier, silent S. And he says he's light years ahead. You know, how good were Martin? You've got to give Mez some time. Still, you know, I still think he's finding his way. I mean, how old's Mez now? Let's have a look here. He's 24. So in 2 years, 2 years you've got to give him 26, 27, maybe 28. Let's have a look. I've just typed that in and I've got I didn't realise, I think Joe's chopped that up and put it online about me talking about Mez, because I got in an argument with that. I got in an argument on his channel about it, but I made a joke because I said like, oh, you know, who would you bring in? Sorry, Badger, that's the hardest I've ever hit you, mate. And then they said, well, would you not replace Meslier, silent S? And I said, well, yeah, if we get someone better. And then so Paul jumped in and said, "Oh, that's someone new, then, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, obviously that's the joke I'm making. Like that's what I was saying, you know. Obviously, if I get someone better, replace him. If I get someone better than anyone, replace him. I don't know. I got pellets in chat on Joe's chat, and I don't care about that stuff anyway. But I really didn't care about that. I thought, well, I'm putting my stall out. It's scapegoat. It's like Melier, just, you know. And it's so hard to make your point as well, you know. It's easier in chat. Andy Rose never getting cancelled, boy. You set the rant off. That's all it needs. You're awesome in the chat, brother. I just disagree with that though, man. Three beers in, boys. Well, 4 beers. I always have one with my tea before I set off into live. Do you know I get a bit nervy? Exactly, Mark. Yeah. Problem is, my problem with that was, hey up, Only Leeds Bros. Yes, boy. What's good? I can't remember what I was going to say then. How's it going, dude? Subscribe to Only Leeds Bros, guys. They're good lads. I've been on for an hour and 41 minutes. Remarkable. Hanging on in there. But yeah, we'll do a bit of Blackburn. Well, I shouldn't be getting banned, Bob. Yes, Joe Depp. Appreciate you, brother. Thursday night, it's become a religion, hasn't it? It's 4 or 5 weeks on bounce. Never used to go live, but I think this is 5th week on bounce. No, well, sometimes I can come across a bit like moody or whatever, but it's just my face. I'm not deliberately. Get your son a beer, Stevie boy. Most things I'm saying like in jest. That's what I was trying. The joke wasn't received. I was only suggesting, you know, obviously that everybody can be replaced. I just didn't understand after a 4-3 crazy game like that the takeaway was Melier silent S. I never got asked, Tony Leeds Bros. Have you been on? Did you go on? I didn't get asked, so I didn't. I think Joe's putting me through it, man. It's after that argument I've had on the black sheep. I've not seen that, Andy. No, I didn't see that. Don't know what's happened. Left me on a cliffhanger here. I don't know what an SOH is, but my agenda is Leeds in every single form first. I just love every single fibre of Leeds, not even just the team. I love the city. I love everything about it. I love living here. I love being from here. I love the place. I really do. So when anybody dons the white jersey, as it were, and I hate being that guy, but I will support that player, and not just also while I'm on a sense of humour, right? Understood. While I'm on a rant about Leeds, it's not blindly. So, like, you know, I started the channel in the Bielsa days. So just before, well, probably I can't remember when I started. Just whenever lockdown was, I think I started it in that when we couldn't go to games and stuff. So, I mean, if anybody that's been here from day dot will know that I have dissed players, not necessarily players. I don't like targeting players. I don't think it's. I sort of appreciate the level that they're all at in terms of how sensational they all are at football, and that may seem like a bit of a cop out in the sense that obviously they're all decent at football. They're all professional footballers. They can all trap a ball. They can all pass a 5-yard ball. But there's been plenty of times where when it's been shit, I just don't think it's shit now. We're top at league. Do you know what I mean? I think Farke's really sorted it out. Farke had a difficult start to the season last season. He had it all up against it. I just think it's... I understand, you know, you can talk objectively as well. I'm not trying to suggest that there's not to be a bad word said about anybody. I just don't understand after a mental game like that 4-3, we end up talking about Meslier potentially being at fault for... It's just, I don't know. It don't sit well with me. I don't know, only Leeds bros. Cheers, dude. I appreciate you. I'm only messing with Joe. I've got a right good relationship. Joe's a proper good lad. Just obviously, I just enjoyed saying out black sheep. Another thing, it was a strange scenario because Andrea sort of said, like, if you want to talk about something else, but I didn't bring it up. And I maybe did look a bit stroppy, but I didn't mean to. Because I couldn't get. We're only talking about football. I've like, you know, there's plenty of serious stuff going on in my life. It's not like, you know, I think football's unbelievably important to keep your mind clear of things that are actually important. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it actually matters like what anybody thinks about football. I'd never fall out with anybody over football. I might, in that moment, it might be... I'm not on about the conversation, any lives I've had, but just in pub when you're talking shit or whatever. But if we're falling out over it, then, you know, it's that melt is that. That's not what it's about. But it sort of got framed as though I'd been... I was counteracting Andrea's point, and I wasn't even... I don't mean this in a bad way. I wasn't even talking. I wasn't replying to him. It wasn't... I was just talking about my thoughts on Meslier Silent S. It's crazy. Mental how stuff gets... Because Andrea said if you want to talk about something else, we'll talk about something else. But I thought, well, I'm not talking... I'm talking about... I've been brought into the conversation. Like, I never interrupted anybody. Like... It's not like sometimes like when you're live on Joe's, it's mint. Obviously, it's always mint, but you're like, you will respond to the person. But I got dragged in. 100% only Leeds bros. You can't be falling out of a football. You can fall out of a football, as I say, in the conversation that you're having. But it's not. It's only important. It's only important to take you out of. That's why I don't really like any nonsense coming into the football, like any sort of, you know, politics or anything. I've no interest in any of that. It's legitimately just about me getting away from my life and for 110 minutes, including the break, just having nothing else to worry about other than like what's going on in game. Like it's unimportant. It's not why I watch football. It's not why I watch sport. So I appreciate it, Mark, because truth be told, everybody does. So all sheep are equal. I'm not going on Joe's and doing Angry Mad Gav. I've told you it's truly spontaneous. I can't believe he ended up with a name. I didn't actually, and this is God's honest truth, I didn't actually, and I take God quite serious because I do believe in him. And I know you shouldn't use his name in vain, but that's not actually what it means. But regardless, I didn't actually know I was doing that Angry Mad Gav thing until it started coming up in the comments, because then I wouldn't do it for a few videos. And like I do try and keep it spontaneous. I never, if something comes up, it must come out. I don't try and... So when it started getting mentioned, I thought, and I don't watch the videos back or all, so I watched one back and I was like, oh, it is ridiculous, that, to be fair. So, and then somebody named him. Did a poll and Gav got picked, so, and I didn't create the poll. I do think Angry Mad Gav is about right. I truly do, Andy. It's not. It's just we're in a good spot. We're in a good place. I'm not going to diss Farker. There's nothing bad to say about the bloke. It's like, we're top at league. He inherited a bit of a mess, didn't he? When we came down, we were actually, if you actually remember, we were all pretty delighted to have him. I think it's a mutual relationship that we have him. I think he's just as happy to be with us as we are to have him, which I think is a good position to be in, rather than it being like, he's not. I think he's ready. To be honest, Farker, this is a big, massive opportunity for him, and we need someone that's proper Championship qualified quality, and he is that. So, Leeds United 2-0 Blackburn. Let's have a quick Blackburn chat. So, as I say, they won the last 2 games, lost 3 before that. They're 8th in league. They beat Borough 1-0. They beat Cardiff 3-1. They got beat Stoke 2-0. Beat Sheffield 2-0. Got beat to Watford 1-0. Drew with West Brom 0-0. So that is quite literally, as I keep saying every single week, every single team in the league, it's like, beat Borough 1-0, that's a good result. Cardiff could go either way. That got beat to Stoke, beat to Sheffield. I don't like saying Sheffield, but that's a legitimate place to lose, isn't it? Got beat to Watford. Watford haven't been bad. Drew with West Brom 0-0, so that's a decent result. Because if you believe what everybody says about West Brom, that Corbran's the second coming. It'll be a difficult game. It's awful, horrible time is 1:30. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if anybody saw all videos. Were it last Christmas we played Blackburn, or it might have been years ago. It might have been when we were before we came up with Bielsa. But all Leeds fans' videos of them absolutely trashing place at this Weatherspoons, and it's not funny, to be fair, but it also is a bit funny. Angry Mad Gav's the reason we're tuning in. I appreciate you, Pat. Charlie Chuck. No, I haven't. Yes, Andy. No, not while I'm at work. Yes, Ming. He's harmless, that's what I mean. He's just, keeps himself to himself. And when he's going, you can see him like boiling up. You can see when he goes, but he comes back down quick enough. He's alright. My Twitter point of the day was, with Ampadu returning in December, it's more than likely to be Ampadu and Tanaka. I agree. Hear me out. If we don't get a 10 in Jan, I'd like to see Rothwell play there. I think he possesses all the qualities to do a job in there in the Championship. Now, this actually came up in the chat, which is interesting. Because it will be Ampadu and Tanaka. But if we don't get a 10 in Jan, it's kind of my point. Farkas said we'll have a quiet January. We don't need a 10 in Jan. I actually don't think we do. And then to follow it on, say, I'd like to see Rothwell play there. I believe that's based on, and I mean, Farker has played Rothwell in the 10, but yes, Steve. Rothwell, he has put Rothwell in the 10, only granted for only about 10 minutes. I'm least up for that. I think it's been nice to Rothwell, in fairness, on the fact that he's been mint in centre mid. But I don't think it's necessary when we've got Ramazani, Nonto, Aronson, James, Solomon that can all do it in there. Like, if you put them in there be them over Rothwell in that 10 all day, surely. But only time will tell. Bob's folklore. Free Bob. Bob been freed. Do you spell freed like that? Spell freed. Yeah. Doesn't seem right, that. I should know that just from Freed from Desire, to be fair. Freed from Desire. Let's have a look here. Hold up here. I'm going to open it up to Judge's Jury. I've not watched this. I didn't know this had occurred. Shit.
Wow, I've got them in black. I've got them in grey.
And bazookas.
So cute.
They are so comfy.
I would be so excited.
Joe, you seem
So
to
excited.
always back the man between the sticks. Talk to us about that third goal, because look, it did take a slight deflection off a Bogle, but I do still go for
Third goal?
Was it second? I don't know, mate. There was that many.
Second goal it was, yeah.
Second one, yeah.
Talk to me.
I mean, you've said it. It's the deflection that's done it.
And
He's
he
gone
doesn't
into
get
a
no...
position for the initial bit, and admittedly, maybe his positioning's a little bit out, but that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it goes in off the inside of the post, curling outside of his reach, and you can see that he's at full stretch. Unless you want him to be like 2 inches.
I bet I'm getting pellets in comments here. Let's have a look.
Due to position and not like
Potentially, yeah. But at the same time, all of our goals, and you can look at Melier and you can say, yeah, that's potentially on him. But every single one of those goals came from defensive issues with the centre backs in front. For example, the third one, both
I
Rodon
agree
and
with you.
Strout losing.
Yeah, I agree with you, but when all that's happened, isn't the last line of defence, shouldn't he be making the save?
I think with the second one,
That's the
fair
keeper's job, innit? We
The-
can
the
blame
second one-
centre-back. Yeah, go on.
The second one, fair enough. He's not 100% on his positioning. If he's a little bit more to the right, potentially he gets fingers to it. But at the same time, it's not the easiest to save at all. The other ones, they're just goals. They happen. Like, we seem to be in a position right now where we're doing so well at basically everything that when something goes a little bit wrong, you're like, okay, cool, let's assign some blame.
But it's a little bit wrong a lot of the time.
It is a little bit wrong a lot of the time, but at the same time, you look at the other end of the pitch, and Dan James had a fantastic game today, and if he didn't, I don't think anyone would be the fact that you missed a sitter from 2.5 yards out about 5 minutes in. I think it's the issue with being a goalkeeper. You are the person where if something goes wrong, it is a goal. If something goes wrong for a centre back, you've got someone to cover for you. If something goes wrong as a goalkeeper, it's your fault. And fair enough. But people go a little bit too hard in on let's apportion all of the blame, because at the end of the day, we've still won the match. And
Yeah, but we're just talking obvious, so we need to
yeah.
talk about some specific
And
shit.
it's maybe we've conceded a goal or two that we shouldn't have done, but at the same time we've had mistakes all over the place, and people seem to just look at the one place rather than the line of mistakes that happen to put us in a position for that mistake to happen. And so
Because it's a tough position, isn't it?
He was good in the air today, I felt, in terms of commanding his box. He caught a lot, to be fair to him.
I think, listen, I tend to agree with Joe on it, and I'll say he has a bit of Raheem Sterling syndrome almost, because what it is Sterling.
Definitely not his arms, bro. He's definitely not got his arms.
As in he's a quality player, yeah. But as I say, you don't remember what someone does a lot of the time. You remember how they make you feel. And Sterling had the ability to miss absolute gilt-edged sitters that really stick and resonate in your mind. And Melier, for 80% of the game, he's good. He's making great saves. He's good at playing the ball out. But he will make an absolute clanger. I'm sure he'll have a couple more this season. And those are the things that stick in your mind as a fan. That you will remember the Sunderland. You will remember stupid goals, arguably that penalty that he let through his arms. You will remember these key moments. So whenever he does make a mistake, no matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, these moments stick in your mind. So it doesn't really matter what he does. in terms of good plays. He could have 3 or 4 good games on the bounce. People are just waiting for him to make that next mistake, and that confidence in his ability to keep things going isn't quite there. And as you said, goalkeeper is the toughest position on the pitch, because if a striker misses a chance, okay, expect him to get another one. If a keeper misses a big opportunity in front of goal, lets a stupid goal in, everyone's going to be raging. It's the most brutal position on the pitch. And when you make some big mistakes like he has, unfortunately, you can put a rod out for your own back. But I think, especially in this league, there's not much better you can get. People saying Carl Darlow, are you guys that low on him that you'd potentially bring Carl Darlow in, or? I don't see any other option, and I think he's good for this league.
Darlow doesn't do the passing aspect as well as Melier does, and that's such a key part of the way we build as well.
I don't even think he does the saving aspect as well as Melier. But that's the thing. But does anyone here see it as an urgent issue that you'd potentially need to change in terms of Melier in there?
Mouse products are
Oh, come on. We don't need an advert in here, do we?
This needs to be the last season for me with him. I think it's an overstay of this one, and maybe the other one when we got relegated last season. I think for him too was better to get a new club in order to have a fresh start, because I think he hasn't improved. He had some great moments, for example, Leicester, the great save that he had, but overall, it's a keeper that keeps worrying me. I said to Lockie, we're talking during the game, and when he got the ball in the end, I'm always worried now. I'm always worried because he doesn't give me security, doesn't give me certainty,
Jack, have you got any thoughts, mate? I could see you sort of like grinning along, and I'm trying to read whether you agree, disagree. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I won't worry about his future, as in, I don't think you have to do the best thing for him. I think we'll just leave that to club to decide. I don't think it's I want the best for him and for us. I can't believe we're talking about a deflected goal that went in bottom corner. But after that game, I can't believe that's the takeaway. But
no, I wanted to go through some points.
His performance and episodes throughout the game, Jack. I think it's.
Well, what did he do?
Like
did you watch the other goalkeeper?
Sorry.
Did you watch the other goalkeeper? Because I thought he looked like, Sunday League.
I know. I know. We're talking about the goalkeeper of Leeds United. So
I know, but I just think I think it's targeting.
No, it's not targeting, man. It's not targeting. We're just analyzing just player. Looking at an error. I said, me too.
I don't think it's an error.
Made some great.
It's an error.
I think it's an error, because it's too much on the left. But if we want to move to the next topic, it's okay. It's no problem. I said my.
I've just been brought in. I've not said all. I got asked. So,
well, we need to hear the voice of reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's you all bang on.
Keep
about,
going, lads. I'm going to clip it up.
You're all banging about money.
No, it's okay. We're just talking about.
I'm joking.
Do you think he can stay on the basis that we'll get a bit of money for him? Do you think that's why he's here?
At the end of the season, or right now? Or in January,
I don't think that'd be beneficial for the club. If we're all going to bang on about finances and all this stuff, do you not think it'd be better for him to come up into Premier League, do a season, then get a move? Do you think we get?
On a financial term, yes, but I don't think his value will.
So who
rise,
do we get then? If Darlow a Premier League goalkeeper?
No, you need to get a new one for me.
Right. So it's just new's better.
Yeah, exactly. I think you need to get maybe.
New's always better, though, isn't it? That's kind of what bores me. That's kind of my point about everything. It's like new's always better, isn't it? Just get someone new, and then it's better.
No.
So Jack, would you keep Melier in the Prem?
Unless we get someone better.
So that's someone new.
So that's someone new.
It'd have to be, wouldn't it?
No, but I think, man, I think the lack of tactical.
That is my point. Do we get the joke at the end? Unless we get someone better. Obviously, if you get someone new, as long as he's better. If they're better, let's have him in. I'm back, boy. We're back in. That is my point. I thought, because I knew I'd get pellets in comments for that and that. It's all. It is what it is, isn't it? Who cares? But I didn't actually know Joe had clipped that up. I'm gonna message him saying that I'm fuming about him clipping it up, taking content out of context. And because there was some pelters in comments there saying like, oh, well, what we're talking about the Swansea goalkeeper as though it matters. The point is obviously because the Swansea goalkeeper is also a Championship goalkeeper, isn't he? So that is important, is it not? That there's somebody else in there. We're watching another Championship goalkeeper who looks shit. You know, we've seen plenty of shit goalkeepers in the Championship. I don't think Meslier is one of the worst ones, you know. And new does bore me. I'm sick of this, like, get someone new in. That's what I'm saying about Darlow. Darlow was new, wasn't he? And then Darlow wasn't good enough. So we moved Darlow on. In terms of who's starting. I'll fuck my screen up here. Boring. But nobody do it how we does it. You know how it is. They're not Ming. Everybody on that panel's mint, to be fair. I like everybody on there, honestly. Like it's all parcel, isn't it? I don't, you know, it's all a bit of fun. It's hard to it's just hard to get your point across sometimes. You know, you've only got like when there's a lot of people on the show. You know, you've only got like 30 seconds, and then I'm not like a big talker. Like I don't want to take up 4 minutes of time. Do you know what I mean? Just chatting, just woofing shit. So I try and sort of like make my point as sort of quickly as possible, but. New with a fancy name. Exactly, Mark, yeah. 100%. Get someone in that's called, like, Aliante de la Clape, and then it would be like, he is the best goalkeeper anybody's ever seen. I mean, you know, Anana's a good enough name, isn't it? The thing is about names, the one thing I will say is you've got, like, so, like, Anana's a good name, and you think Anana's a keeper. And then Anana comes and plays, and then Anana becomes, like, a joke of a name, doesn't it? That's the only thing. You definitely get a better start by having a wild name, but by the time the wild name becomes against you as well, like you end up being like, I wish I had like a normal name where people, you know, do you know what I mean? You become like your own parody. You become like a ridicule of yourself. The points can get twisted, Andy. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's just when people don't get, you know, what you're trying to, as I say, you know. You could. Well, I also think it's really easy to just. I actually think it's harder to defend a player than it is to just say they're not good enough, because you can't be wrong if you say they're not good enough. Because I know down the line when Meslier isn't a top 4 goalkeeper in the Premier League, I'm wrong. So it's really, you know, it's a lot. It's, you know, that's kind of my point, which I keep making, but. About all 11 players, we don't know what we're getting out of every single one of them. An Anna into Yorkshire name, no, it's not. That's kind of my point. You know, you'll end up being right if you just sort of like if you're setting your stall out saying, "Oh, I don't think he's good enough," and then if he is good enough, you just don't say "oh" ever again, do you? You just keep out of the way with it. I just think it's really easy. You know. New's better. Get someone new in. Got Darlow in. Not good enough. Yeah, someone else. All right, well, get someone new in then. Yeah, but he ain't good enough, so get someone else. Can Rodrigo replace Bamford? Don't look like it, right? Get someone else. Too injury prone, right? Get someone else, right? Can we get Peru in? Is Peru better? No, he's not good enough on ball. Get someone else. Get Joseph in. Start Joseph. Does Joseph get enough goals? No, he don't look good enough in front of goal. Get someone else. It's like... Oh, I felt bad, Andy. I wasn't. I swear on my life, I wasn't responding to Andrea. I really wasn't. That I was just talking about. It wasn't Andrea that was boring me. That's not what I meant by it. It's like I'm just talking as though I'm on here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking. And I mean that even in comments, boys. If anybody thinks like I'm saying back to somebody, it's not. It's just a topic of conversation. I just say whatever I think. It's not like. Do you know what I mean? Yes, Mike, what's good, brother? Cold Kent marching on together. I've never been to Kent. The only reason why I know Kent is because there's a peep show joke, and Andy Rowe, a testament to my peep show knowledge, he's here because he's gone to go buy some shortbread from Kent, but it's not Kent, but he thinks it's from Kent, and he's gone to go buy his current bird some shortbread. I do think it's the easiest thing to say. He does love the sheep. Right, guys, I'm going to do one because I'm literally going to piss myself. Hello, love. Have you really? Oh, nice one. Say hello.
Hey, gang.
Right. Bit of titillation for you there, boys. I'm off because she's ordered as an Indian. So, and I'm going to piss myself. On that wet and woke note, I'll drop in tomorrow with a quick shit vid in preparation for Saturday's game. I'm going to try go live, but I do work Saturday mornings, guys, so I'm going to struggle to get back for 12:30, I think, because I normally go live about an hour before away games. But does anybody have any sort of does anybody have any yes, Sakamoto, I've not seen you today. Have you not commented, old boy? Would anybody have any issues with me, like if I sit down and just go live like immediately, even if it's like if I go, because if I get home like bang on one, I'll just want to set the game up, make sure I can see it, 'cause it's not on Sky, so I need to go get the dodgy feed, and I want it to remain as entertaining as physically possible. But if I just go live, even like 5 minutes into the game or whatever, if I just click live, if anybody's up for it, I will do that. But I can't promise that I'll be here an hour before. But I will know early doors when I'm home. Lampard has signed for Coventry, Andy. Do not set me off. I was instantly looking at the fixture when we've got Coventry. 'Cause I love a Lampard rivalry. It's the best thing ever. Just get on, boy, says Ming. Go for it, Mark. Yeah, well, I will do. I will drop in. As I say, guys, I appreciate every which one here. Honestly, I cannot believe this is even a thing. It's crazy to me that how long have we been live here, kids? 2 hours, 10 minutes. Madness. Voice of reason. Sakamoto just keeping a low profile today. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate every which one here. Do you ask him, Andy? I bet you do as well, to be fair. I would drop the mic, man, but it's my badger, innit? And she's far too precious to me, so I can't drop her. But I am going to go, because if not, I'm going to drop me bladder. I was going to say drop me guts, but I'm well aware that that's meaning shit yourself, and I'm not. I'm some way off that. So take it easy, everybody, and I will drop a shit vid in tomorrow. I appreciate every which one of you, truly, from the bottom of the heart I do. If you want to check my music out, type in JackCity Games. Yes, Trey, you know what it is. You know what it is with that baby. The Badger, the one and only. Subscribe to Trey. The tunes are crazy. Take it easy, everybody. Much love. And yes, Andy, I'm in that spot where I can't end it. Take it easy.